Academy. First things first, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the div element. The div HTML element is the generic container for flow content. It has no effect on the content or layout until styled in some way using CSS. Styling is directly applied to it, or some kind of layout model like Flexbox is applied to its parent element. So the div element is basically a generic element from HTML5, and it allows you to hold paragraphs, text, images. You can put forms in divs, and a host of other elements. You can style them using CSS and Flexbox. Now, if you're not familiar with that, you will in future videos that I will post up. But you can use CSS and Flexbox to style it to get it to look the way you want it to look. Outside of that, the div doesn't change how elements look and how the structure is set up. As a pure container, the div element does not inherently represent anything. Instead, it's used to group content, so it can be easily styled using the class or ID attributes. And you can even use a div to mark a section of a document that's being written in a different language using the lang attribute and so on. So we haven't touched on attributes or classes yet. We will in a future video. But again, divs are just pure containers meant to hold elements and text, images, and a host of other elements. The div element should be used only when no other semantic element such as article or nav is appropriate. So if you're setting up a web page and you've used the main article or the nav and you don't see which one is appropriate, 9 times out of 10, you probably need to use a div. Divs are used frequently throughout web pages, so get real comfortable with it. Now we're going to talk about the P element. The P HTML element represents a paragraph. Paragraphs are usually represented in visual media as blocks of text separated from adjacent blocks by blank lines or first line indentation. But HTML paragraphs can be any structural grouping of related content, such as images or form fields. So the P element basically is mainly used to hold text. That's basically what a P element is used for. Now I'm going to demonstrate in my Visual Studio Code editor how to render a div and a P tag on a page. So I have my Visual Studio Code editor set up. So just like before, start off with blank, shift, exclamation point, tab. So I'm just going to create a div. So basically I can just type it out like before, because there's Emmet built in to Visual Studio Code editor, and press tab. And then I can add some text to it, like hello, how are you? Something generic today. Or I could put hello, welcome to my page, to my web page. And then I could also place another P tag, right? And then I could say, this is the first P tag of my web page. And I could also take this whole thing and place it in a div, which oftentimes you would see. Where oftentimes you would see this like a root div, and then like a parent div, and then divs nested. You may have other elements that come afterwards. So if I press right click, open with live server, hello, welcome to my web page. This is the first P tag on my web page. So this is pretty much it. As far as divs, you could do a lot more with it, but I'm just covering the basic aspects of it. The P tag is the same. You can just put text. You can also put text in div. You could also place the P tag and put it in a div, and then use this div as a container to style it. You don't necessarily have to, place this text in it inside of a div. This is pretty much it at this point. I'll see you in the next video.